Welcome to ISE's Equity Index Weekly Outlook, a weekly outlook on ISE and other industry indexes, hosted by Patrick Seresna, a derivative market specialist and investment manager with extensive expertise in options and the broader derivative markets. ISE trades options on more than 15 proprietary sector indexes, as well as broad-based indexes and a variety of licensed benchmarks. ISE continually enhances its trading systems and develops new index options products to provide investors with the best marketplace and investment tools to trade smarter.
Hello and welcome to the ISE Equity Index Outlook for June 6, 2011. This is Patrick Seresna. As always, we start off with a chart of the S&P 500 using that SPDR exchange traded fund symbol, SPY. We were talking about over the last 2 months, almost 3 months, that we were looking for the highs of the second quarter to come in somewhere in the 136 to 139 level on the SPDRs, and like clockwork we had a pop up into that zone and subsequently have been spending the better part of a month and a half just consolidating down lower. Last week we talked about that any rally that failed in this 134 135 area was going to have one more leg lower that would at minimum test this 130 131 where we're currently at. But if that level is broken, we should have another 4 or 5 points lower on that SPYs down to even the 126 127 level down below. And now initially we are of the opinion that this entire market correction is exactly that, a market correction, which means it should take even maybe 2 to 3 months in total duration, and the market backfill a solid 10, maybe even 15% on the downside, and then have a consolidated basing period before what could end up being a rally in the second half of the year, going into or more likely into the fourth quarter of the year. At this juncture, we don't know which scenario is the greatest as to whether or not it's going to be just a short-term correction or whether it's a much bigger one. But initially we're just looking for a correction down to these levels. If things really accelerate down, maybe we might see 122 on the downside of SPDR. Then we should have a pretty strong retracing move back, and then we'll determine whether or not there's a bigger picture bear market underway. Next year I want to take a look at the ISE US Regional Banks Index, which is symbol JLO. And again, we had a rally that came right up into that 24 and a quarter, 24.75 focal point, right to the descending trend line we drew in there, and immediately reversed and started selling lower. At this point, the next support lines lie all in this 22.5, 23 area down below. We're almost there, so not too much more downside potential on this initial push. I mean, if the markets get bearish enough, we could theoretically see it test even down as low as 21 on the downside, but I don't think that necessarily is something that we are counting on here. But we certainly don't want to get in the way of the selling at this point. Next year I want to take a look at the ISE SINDEX, which is symbol SIN. This is an index of all the casino, tobacco, and distiller companies. At this stage, we're looking for highs to come in on that SINDEX somewhere around that 140, 142 area. Again, last week we tested that zone and then rejected. This time the selling has now broken all the lows from the May month, which really opens the window for some significant consolidation. There's some important support lines coming in right where we're at in this 134 136 area. If those levels are broken on the downside, the window really opens for a much deeper and fuller retracement lower. At this stage though, we're going to anticipate support to hold here, and it would be only on a failure of the bulls to make any retracing moves higher, which would keep us with a distinctly bearish bias. Next year I want to take a look at the ISE Home Builders Index, which is symbol RUF, and the home builders rejected right off that 920, 940 area, and then subsequently have now been selling for 3 days straight. We're now in a position where at minimum the home builders should come back for a retest of the lows in this 850, 870 area, and if the selling is strong enough, particularly if the broader market selling is really there, we could see a move even as low as the 820. But again, like a lot of the other indices I've been talking about, we're first just anticipating retesting of support rather than looking for a very accelerated down move. Next year, I want to take a look at the ISE Natural Gas Index, which is symbol FUM, and we saw that double top up along the upside and now subsequent reversal. We were talking about this entire rally that's been going on for 2 weeks, that if it rejected in the retracement zones marked off by this blue box, that in fact we would begin another leg lower on the downside of the natural gas index. At this juncture, technically it looks like the scenario we drew out last week is coming to fruition. So we're just watching here whether or not there's really going to be some selling coming over. The one catch is that the natural gas as a commodity is actually doing pretty well, which may be an underpinning under this on the natural gas index of stocks. So we'll be watching for support lines to hold if natural gas as a commodity continues to strengthen. But initially we are in some sort of a consolidation phase. Looking a technical measured move could see even as low as 120 on the downside of this natural gas index. So let's just watch where and how low these consolidations go. Finally, I want to take a look at the ISE Mini FTSE 100 Index, which is a symbol UKX. And more or less the UK market continues to consolidate in that trade range zone of 585 to 610 on the upside. But this time we are weakening as we're coming along this line. If there's any give out of the support line, we could see a very quick and rapid drop all the way down to the 555, 560 area down below. So we're going to be watching very early this week whether the FTSE can dig in here or whether it's going to give out that support line. That was your ISE Equity Index Outlook. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. For more information about Patrick Ceresna and to sign up for free index options trade alerts, visit www.optionsource.net. To learn more about ISE index options, visit us at www.ise.com/indexoptions.